Brooks. I'm with the Guilford County Fire Department. I've been with them, we're a new recruit for 6 months. Also been pastoring for 6 years, also in the ministry for 10. Before you tonight to talk a little bit about what firefighters do, how that role what they do on a daily basis plays a part in our everyday lives, not just yours, but also mine. We want to also talk about how their duties can be, how they go along with chaplaincy and spiritual guidance, how they play a role in exhibiting godly values on a daily basis. Every day, the work that they do plays a role in that. Let's see. To begin with, how many people own a home or live in a house? You know, live somewhere. That's good. Everybody lives at home. Everybody's warm, you know, and safe from the elements. Okay, real life situation, scenario. We were talking here. There's a woman, or hypothetical, excuse me. The woman named Ethel comes home. She wakes up in the morning, has breakfast. She drinks coffee, smokes a cigarette. She takes a couple of hours, go by. After she's put the cigarette out, she takes the ashtray, dumps it in the trash can. She leaves for work. She's gone for the day. 30 minutes after Ethel was gone, the fire ignites in the trash can from the cigarette that she thought was out and begins to burn. It burns up. Fortunately, she has a trash can away from the wall. The fire burns, it goes out. Ethel comes, the smoke detector goes off, but there's no one to hear it. And there's no one around to hear a smoke detector go off. It means nothing. So the fire goes out. Fortunately, she gets home, sees smokes everywhere. There's a real day scenario, whether you realize it or not. According to the NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Agency, it's a national organization designed to hold statistics, to determine training, set standards for the fire departments, and to set standards for individuals in everyday use. Also, they also set the standards for electrical parts in cars and vehicles, structures, buildings. They help set the standards for building codes as well. So this particular group really does set the standard. They got a lot of books and things that they do publish to assist in the training for firefighters. We look at this. That scenario, I brought that scenario up because if we look at it, they say, according to the NFPA website I accessed September the 26th, 2014, it states that smoking is the second leading cause of fires in home structures yearly. The second cause. So when we look at that, those numbers can be staggering if we look at it in comparison to how many fires actually occur. According to the same website, 370,000 homes catch on fire yearly. Between 2009 and 2011, those statistics state that 370,000 homes caught fire. Now, out of those fires, 2 out of 5 of those started in the kitchen. The second cause in all of those was, of course, smoking. Number 1 leading cause. How many of you got a heater? You got a heat, or you like to stay warm. Anybody people don't like to be cold. You know, you like warm. So you got your heat. So we look at that. The average fire. It says that the third leading cause, or up to half of those fires, were caused by heating problems, where people had heating elements or portable heaters too close to walls or upholstery or curtains, and ignited in the fire. People don't realize that you don't have to be touching something for it to catch on fire. Just the radiating heat coming off of it can ignite something if left there too long or unattended. And so that's why they tell you don't leave it too close to things unattended. Now, the reason why I want to bring these particular things out, because I'm sure that everyone has heard sirens somewhere in their city at some point in time. You're driving down the road, you hear a siren, you're at home, you hear a siren. We got to look at how many calls firefighters respond to on average. We want to talk about those dangers real briefly so that we can get an understanding of the stress and the pressure that they're under daily. And by thinking about this stress and this pressure that they're under daily, we see not just the negative side of it, but we also see that there is an opportunity to exhibit godly values in what they do. Not only by what they do, but also for one another, but also what they do for the public. We look at that in comparison to other job fields. Now, firefighters, although it is a high-risk, dangerous job, it is a prestigious career where people put their lives on the line for the lives of others. And if we look at Matthew, in the book of Matthew, we look at the scripture that says, "For man lay down his life no greater love than this in a man to lay down his life for his friend. That is a showing of a godly value. We also look, now on average, it said that between 2007 and 2011, according to NFPA, that 7 people died daily in house fires. So 7 people a day. Bringing that to reality. You get up, you eat breakfast, you go to work, you come home, you go to sleep. When you get up the next morning, 7 people lost their lives in a fire. Wow. That is amazing. And so when you think about not just those 7 people that lost their lives, think about the people that were attempting to save that life. And think about the impact that trying to save that life had on them. So we see that there's stresses. We had conducted an interview with a Jeff Walker, who is a captain of the Reeves Field Fire Department. Had an interview on the 26th of September this year. Interview with Jeff Walker, 18-year veteran and instructor with the fire department, and he said, I quote, "It is not a matter of if, but a matter of when death comes." So he said that he was also stated that we must be, that is the training that the firefighters have that helps them to deal with the stress levels of what they have to deal with. But he also said that, you know, there are other considerations and not just fire that you have to worry about. Although the temperatures in a fire, average house fire, exceeds 1,300 degrees. So that is hot. That is extreme. Water boils at 100. So you got to think that that's 13 times the temperature that water boils out, and nobody, you know, water boiling water will scald you. So that brings into reality the danger that they're in. Also, responding to crime scenes where individuals have been shot. A lot of times those assailants may still be on the scene when the fire department arrives. So their lives are in danger, not just from that. Also, Jeff Walker brought up the fact that you have to be aware of medical situations that you respond to where individuals may be sick, because you may bring those diseases or illnesses back home with you if you're not taking the proper precautions. So a lot of these facts can be disheartening, but we think about the fact. Furthermore, we think about the fact that enduring these risks show forth godly value of showing the hospitality, showing love for our brothers and our sister. Even the scripture that talks about the Good Samaritan, as he was going down the road, sure, he had business to take care of, but he stopped to help someone else in need. And so these are godly values that God honors. He wants us to show that love and that compassion towards one another, and you know, what greater way than to risk your life, and not just for the individuals who are in the fire department who are doing these things, but also for the individuals who themselves, amongst themselves, their comrades. Because he said, Jeff Walker was also quoted was saying that, you know, in his 18 years, he's even had to, with all his training, he's even had to have counseling or had to talk to someone about issues pertaining to maybe someone that pertaining to those that he was not able to save. So when we also look here real briefly at this pie chart, we see that 53.9% of the causes of deaths among firefighters is due to overexertion and stress. So, you know, that's over half. So over half of what happens to firefighters isn't just the fire itself. So it is, the real danger is stress, because you got to think, you got 2 minutes. You get to put on a unit. You got to be in gear. You got a hat. You put on your boots. You got your gear on. Then, you know, you got your gear on. After 2 minutes, you got to be in a truck. Response time in Guilford County and Greensboro is 8 minutes. That's the average response time. That's from bed to truck to the scene. Mm. So that's a lot of stress. That's a high stress environment to be able to have to constantly respond. And if you get 3 calls in a row, you got to respond the same way 3 times in a row. So we look at those factors and we just realize that it is a show of God-given values that the individuals do use in order to maintain themselves in their line of work. So that is an opportunity, a wonderful opportunity to be able to show the love of God and to be able to help others out in spite of your own present circumstances, and not ignoring, but enduring the dangers in order to do so. So I thank you all for taking time to come out tonight. Hope you heard something that enlightened you or you learned something, and God be with you.